Right. A very good afternoon to one and all. My name is Atharva Patil. Today we'll be taking the topic, the ongoing financial crisis in Sri Lanka. So without further ado, let's skip to the main content. So as we all know, Sri Lanka is in a grave position with its financial assets and its forex reserves right now. The situation is so worse that they do not have pen, paper and ink to import, which has led to cancellation of exams, and the future of students is also at stake today. Power surges are as long as 13 to 15 hours. They do not have any means to import the medicines or the essential items also. People have to stand in lines of 10 to 15 hours to get the cylinders and other essential items also. The food inflation has gone 25%, as high as 25%. For example, I'd like to tell you, just a 400 gram of Nestle coffee that costs 200 rupees in India is inflated to 800 rupees in Sri Lanka. So you can assess how grave this condition is. Now, if you assess the reason why Sri Lanka has come to this stage, we can do it in 4 to 5 points. Let us summarize those. The first point that I would like to put forward is the China's debt trap. Sri Lanka fell into China's debt trap. It resulted in it giving its best performing port and hundreds of acres of land on lease for 99 years for China. So that was a huge loss of revenue for the government also. The second thing is that it hampered the tourism. Pandemic and Ukraine-Russia war has hampered the tourism of Sri Lanka. It has been said that 25% of the tourists that come to Sri Lanka are from Russia, Ukraine and allied states. Now that number has gone down by a considerable amount. The third thing is ban on chemical fertilizers. The President and Prime Minister Rajapaksa were obsessed with organic farming. It is a good thing, but they immediately significantly banned all the chemical fertilizers, the use of chemical fertilizers. Now this move was a good move in order to reach for sustainable development, but it had no proper planning, no assessment and no provisions made. So it resulted in decrease of the yield of crops and ultimately decreased in the revenue generation of the country. The third thing was that affected is the reduction of taxes. President Rajapaksa, before getting his votes, he pleaded to the citizens that he will be cutting taxes from 15% to 8%, and he did what he said. This also led Sri Lanka get very less revenue generation, and today the problem is Sri Lanka has only $2 billion in its foreign exchange reserves, but Sri Lanka has to pay debt this year of $7 billion, and total debt that Sri Lanka owes the world is $45 billion. So you can say that Sri Lanka is in a very grave situation right now. So now that we know the reasons, now let us see how Sri Lanka can get out of this mess. The first and the short-term goal can be using an IMF bailout. Yes, International Monetary Fund. It can approach IMF and then ask for a bailout. This process is not simple as just as simple as we are talking right now. When IMF get involved, rules get very strict, and they are not lenient at all. They have to go for internal, external auditing of the entire process. Maybe President Rajapaksa has to resign from his post also. Also, IMF comes with fiscal consolidation. It means that taxes are going to be higher, interest rates are going to be higher, and subsidies are going to be less. So each and every Sri Lankan citizen has to pay for it, whatever is going on in the country. So this will give them out a way for short term, but it is definitely going to hamper each and every Sri Lankan citizen today. The second thing that I suggest is Sri Lanka needs political and economic reforms in the later days. Because you cannot run a country in this modern day world by just selling rubber, tea and tourism. So today or tomorrow, sooner or later, people are gonna come at them and they have to open another branches of economic source in order to pay its foreign debt. And last but not the least, Sri Lankan government is being run just as a family business by those two Rajapaksa brothers. Today, a fresh yield of political leaders who are selfless, relentless, and patriots for the country is required. And then and only then, Sri Lanka can come out of this trap. That's been my take on this topic. Thank you for listening patiently, for bearing with me. Thank you very much.